welcome back to our, and I think this is the ninth episode of Perspective. Um, what are we going to talk about today?
So I think today is very interesting in terms of we are almost at the end of the 10-part series and we are taking things to the next level. So I think majority what we have talked about till now is with respect to meditation is meditation and breath. You know how to anchor yourself in the breath, how to be close to your breath as possible. Use that as a tool. So I think today is going to be very interesting because we are going to the next level, if I may say, and we are going to mindfulness of the body. So that's what we're going to read about today, and I think that has a lot of practical implications that can be extended to practicing mindfulness in day-to-day life.
Yeah, so till now, I think it was about more of mindfulness of the mind and its objects, which were thought, emotions, feelings, and all that. Now we're going to uh, be mindful of our postures, body postures, and that's the chapter name of this book, which is called.
It's Satipatthana Sutta, direct path to realization.
Okay. Okay, cool. Um, so the author says, in the next section of the sutta, the Buddha extends the scope of mindfulness of the body from the breath to bodily postures. Again, monks, when walking, when one knows I am walking. When standing, one knows I am standing. When sitting, one knows I am sitting. When lying down, one knows I am lying down. Or one knows accordingly, however one's body is disposed. There's a great power in the simplicity of this practice. It grounds us in the awareness of the body instead of being carried away so often by thought and ideas. My first teacher, Monindra ji, would often say, sit and know you're sitting, and the whole of Dhamma will be revealed. This is true for any of the four postures sitting, standing, walking, and lying. How exactly does the simple mindfulness practice reveal the Dhamma? So, one thing, like before moving ahead, one thing that I want to point out is what they're asking to do here is to be aware of what posture you are in, which most of the times I have caught myself not being aware of कि मैं कभी कभी ऐसे टेढ़ा लेटी हूँ, कभी हाथ कहीं है, कभी कुछ सोचते हुए अपने आप हाथ बाल पे चला जाएगा, या कुछ हरकत करने लगेगी, उंगलियां ऐसे कुछ ऑटोमेटिक मोड में चल रही होती हैं व्हेन आई एम थिंकिंग, और मे बी व्हेन आई एम स्कैर्ड और एंशियस. सो देन लाइक there are certain people I've seen, they play with their clothes, fidgeting basically.
When you are restless in the mind, it reflects in the body.
Yes, because you're not aware of your posture. जैसे ही उनको बोल दो, अगर मैं किसी के साथ बैठी हूँ और वो anxious है या किस चीज में
Many
लगा हुआ
people just move their leg up and down.
है. Yeah, so and as the thing is, as soon as you tell them कि तुम ऐसा कर रहे हो, तो वो रुक जाता है, because then
Yeah.
now they're aware of that.
Correct.
So that just shows that it was just unawareness
Right.
of that movement.
Right.
So I think that is what they're saying, that know when you're like that you're walking.
Right.
Mindfulness of body postures, just noticing as we move from one posture to the next throughout the day, helps strengthen the continuity of our awareness. This is not complicated. We don't need to be in some heightened state of concentration, and we can practice this as easily outside of retreat as well as in seclusion. Sit and know you're sitting. Walk and know you're walking. Stand and know you're standing. We don't have to be in meditation graduate school to be awake. In the Buddha's time, there were many 7-year-old arahants, fully enlightened beings. I think it was because they could follow the very simplest instructions.
This is an amazing fact. Like children so young, 7-year-old, and they are completely living in harmony and living in peace, having that wisdom. I think it's amazing.
Because वो घड़े ने भी शेप लिया नहीं है,
Right.
और उस समय उनको बोल दिया गया है कि
This is the way to live.
this
Like
is the way to live. So it's very easy to follow instructions at that time. तो अगर उनको बोला कि तुम हाथ मूव कर रहे हो तो be aware of that, तो it becomes their like default mode. आई विश ऐसा कुछ आजकल भी होता.
Today we have social media, right? Which is doing completely the opposite thing, making children restless. But anywho.
Being mindful of how the various postures manifest during the day also reveals a lot about our states of mind. For example, as we walk, do we sometimes find ourselves rushing to go someplace or to do something? Rushing doesn't necessarily have to do with speed. It indicates some state of anticipation, wanting, energetically toppling forward, even slightly rather than being settled back in the moment with just what there is. One of the most helpful instructions for walking meditation is when walking, just walk. This simple reminder can cut through the energy of rushing and the perhaps unnoticed desire for some meditative state. When walking, just walk. We settle back into the simplicity of the moment. When we are standing, are we restless or impatient, or are we standing, grounded in the present at ease?
I've used this technique to remind myself about the constant addiction that I have to opening mobile phones. Like whenever I am in a queue, I'm getting bored. It's not an exciting activity that I'm doing. And then I can sense the need, I can sense my mind or my brain wanting that stimulation and my hand wanting to reach out of the to the mobile phone in my pocket. So I can sense that. So this mindfulness of the body really helps in that. Like what is your like what are you being compelled to do? Being watchful about that and then having decision power to do it.
Yeah, I think um, it's it's difficult initially because अब इतना समय हो गया है हम लोग वैसे ही बिहेव करते हैं, मतलब बहुत अनअवेयर से रहते हैं. तो ये मैंने नोटिस किया है. आई थिंक जब वो जो सुबह का टाइम होता है वो एक स्टेज सेट कर देता है माइंडफुलनेस के लिए. और मैंने नोटिस किया कि जिस दिन मैं सुबह वो 10-15 मिनट निकाल के बैठ के मेडिटेट करती हूँ, उस दिन ये प्रैक्टिस करना कंपैरेटिवली आसान होता है. और ऐसे मोमेंट्स, ऑब्वियसली मैं अभी कंटिन्यूसली माइंडफुल तो नहीं हूँ, लेकिन ये जो मोमेंट्स होते हैं जहाँ पे बॉडी रियलाइज करती है कि वो ऐसा है, तो वो मोमेंट्स ज़्यादा होते हैं जिस दिन मैं ये करती हूँ. या मैं अगर बहुत समय लगातार मेडिटेट कर रही हूँ और जैसे ही वो स्ट्रीक ब्रेक हो जाती है, फिर वो चीज़, वो मोमेंट्स कम होने लगते हैं. तो आई थिंक एक लाइक एक मॉडर्न मैन हु इज लाइक सो बिजी, उसका अटेंशन खींचने के लिए इतनी सारी चीज़ें हैं दुनिया में. तो मे बी लाइक वन ऑफ द वेज टू प्रैक्टिस दिस इज लाइक वो 10 मिनट 15 मिनट शुरू का निकालो और अपने आप यू विल सी कि दिस थिंग विल कम, दिस बॉडी अवेयरनेस विल कम.
न्यूरो साइंस में एक कोट है, न्यूरॉन्स दैट फायर टुगेदर वायर टुगेदर.
ओके
न्यूरॉन्स दैट फायर टुगेदर वायर टुगेदर.
ओके.
सो लाइक यू सेड, अगर तू मॉर्निंग में वो एसोसिएशन बना लेगी, देन दैट बिकम्स स्ट्रॉन्ग बाय रिपीटेशन.
Mindfulness of body postures also becomes a basis for overcoming unwholesome states of mind, even quiet, intense ones. Before the Buddha's enlightenment, while he was still a bodhisattva, he would often go to remote jungles as a way of confronting fear in his mind. Buddha says,
It's so difficult. Like it's imagine that you know that there is danger out there, still making your body go towards that danger. Like it sounds like somebody is truly seeking truth or whatever. Like I just want to appreciate Buddha's dedication to seeking truth.
he truly wants to conquer his senses. His senses and like emotions also. क्योंकि मतलब अगर मुझे पता है कि वहाँ सांप बैठा है
Correct.
तो मैं उससे दूर भागूं. वो मेरा डिफॉल्ट
Default.
है कि मैं उससे दूर भागूंगी या कुछ मतलब अपने को प्रोटेक्ट करने. लेकिन वो वहां जाके वहां उस सांप के सामने बैठ जाएंगे और वो बैठ के नोटिस करेंगे कि उनकी बॉडी के अंदर क्या चल रहा है. इट्स सो डिफिकल्ट.
That's next level. और यहाँ तो जिम नहीं जाया जाता है.
And while I dwelt there, a wild animal would come up to me, or a peacock would knock off a branch, or the wind would rustle the leaves. I thought, what now if this is fear and dread coming? I thought, why do I dwell always expecting fear and dread? What if I subdue that fear and dread while keeping the same posture that I am in when it comes upon me? ये थोड़ा stupid भी है.
Yeah, he tried everything. He tried. I mean, so when you are when you don't know the path, you try everything, and he tried starving himself and doing all this kind of, going in the jungle and everything. So yeah, a lot of it can be stupid, like retrospectively.
But then he figured out कि ये नहीं करना है.
Yeah, it's not about that. Yeah, eventually, yeah.
हाँ, एंड ऑब्वियसली उनके खुद के रेवलेशंस रहे होंगे जब वो ये कर रहे थे, बट आई थिंक इवेंचुअली फिर उन्होंने बोला कि मैं ये नहीं करूँगा बिकॉज कंफर्ट्स नहीं चाहिए, बट ऐसा भी स्टेट नहीं चाहिए जहाँ पे मैं नॉर्मल अपना फुल फंक्शन ना कर पाऊँ. जो मेरा गोल है एनलाइटनमेंट अचीव करने का, मैं अगर मेरी बॉडी अगर स्टार्व्ड है तो मैं वो कर ही नहीं पाऊंगी क्योंकि मेरे अंदर एनर्जी ही नहीं रहेगी. दिस ही फिगर आउट बाय डूइंग दोस थिंग्स, एंड दैट इज व्हाट ही कॉल्स मिडल वे.
Right.
While I walked, the fear and dread came upon me. I neither stood nor sat nor lay down till I had subdued that fear and dread. It's so difficult. While I stood, the fear and dread came upon me. I neither walked nor sat nor lay down till I had subdued that fear and dread. While I sat, the fear and dread came upon me. I neither walked nor stood nor lay down till I had subdued that fear and dread. सो बेसिकली उन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया वॉलंटरीली, चाहे कितना ही डर लग रहा हो, और वो डर को कंट्रोल करने के लिए. It can be encouraging for us to realize that even the bodhisattva intent on enlightenment face the same kind of difficulties that we encounter in our lives. Just the fact that small things like the rustling of leaves or a branch falling called up strong fears for the bodhisattva connects the Buddha's journey with our own. It's clear from his description that purification of mind is not limited to sitting practice. We can face and see through these unwholesome states whenever and wherever they arise. We can plant the flag of mindfulness in whatever particular posture they arise. I think इसका एक एग्जाम्पल ये है कि आई थिंक तुमने ये चीज़ मुझे बोली थी कि देयर वाज अ मीटिंग दैट वाज सपोज टू हैपन which was about like a work meeting. Just you had this thing कि वो कुछ you were anxious about that meeting. एंड इन जनरल एनजाइटी में लोग क्या करते हैं, मतलब या तो बहुत टेंशन में होते हैं, टेंशन में उस स्टेट में जाते हैं उस मीटिंग में, और फिर शायद उतना कुछ खराब होना भी नहीं था लेकिन वो और खराब करके ही आ जाते हैं बिकॉज देयर स्टेट ऑफ माइंड इज लाइक unstable. They're not in control of what they're speaking or doing. So I wanted to like describe that thing that you did that day.
हाँ, वो मीटिंग शेड्यूल हुई थी और मुझे वो आई डेंट हैव अ गुड फीलिंग अबाउट दैट मीटिंग, लाइक इसलिए. सो अब वो मीटिंग 2-3 घंटे आगे थी, बट देन आई नोटिस दैट इट हैड सच अ ह्यूज इम्पैक्ट ऑन व्हाट आई वाज फीलिंग बिफोर दैट, द 2-3 आवर्स बिफोर दैट. वो हुई भी नहीं है मीटिंग, मेरा एंटिसिपेशन है उसका, पर मैं इतना एंग्शियस फील कर रहा हूँ फॉर वॉट एवर रीजन. देन आई just took some time and just sat with it. So that's what I did.
And then like what happened when वो anxious feeling थी, like what do you mean by sitting with it?
Contemplating it. Like how is it affecting me so much that my mind is just disturbed right now. I don't want that. I don't want anything to become so overbearing, you know.
Because it's affecting your body.
It is affecting everything.
Yeah, it's affecting like तुम्हारा हार्ट रेट इंक्रीज हो रहा होगा, और मतलब इट अफेक्ट्स. एंड जब कांस्टेंट स्ट्रेस वगैरह रहता है तो सब कुछ तो आजकल स्ट्रेस पे डाल देते हैं. तो मोटे हो रहा स्ट्रेस, हेयर फॉल हो रहा स्ट्रेस, पिंपल्स आ रहा स्ट्रेस, लाइक एवरीथिंग इज स्ट्रेस ओनली.
Yeah, it like definitely that those intangible things manifest things in our body only. That's true. That's true. But ये art of detachment यही है. Whatever comes, like even good things, when you are in very good times, the advice is not to be overly attached to the good times also, and the advice is not to be overly attached to the bad times also. This is like the balance that we're talking about.
Georgia O'Keeffe, the famous artist from the American Southwest, expressed this same courageous attitude toward fear in another way. I've been absolutely terrified every moment of my life, and I've never let it keep me from doing a single thing I wanted to do. Mindfulness of postures when walking. When walking, I know I'm walking. When standing, I know I'm standing. Also opens the doorway to understanding the three characteristics of all existence.
अभी तो खाने के टाइम एक हाथ में लोगे फोन होता है. Forget about having food on the plate and knowing while eating that you are eating. Forget about it. Right now it's about कुछ और देख रहे हैं और पता भी नहीं है क्या खा रहे हैं और कैसे खा रहे हैं. So I think it's all about awareness, like how you keep the awareness.
या मैंने आजकल जब मैं मेडिटेट कर रही हूँ तो मैं यही नोटिस कर रही हूँ कि और ये एक दिन मेरे मुंह से खुद से ही निकला था कि यू आर वेयर योर फोकस इज. यू आर तो और फोकस का मतलब ताकत इतना ज्यादा है. वो बोलते हैं ना कि जहाँ पे तुम पानी डालते हो वहीं पे प्लांट उगता है. सॉर्ट ऑफ लाइक दैट कि तुम जिस पे फोकस कर रहे हो वो ही हो रहा है. एंड यू आर दैट मतलब इफ यू आर एंशियस यू सो तुम्हारा तुम बोलते यू आर एंशियस, यू आर नॉट फीलिंग एंशियस.
Correct.
तुम एंशियस हो गए हो, यू आर एंशियस. तो who is controlling this? I don't. Everybody will agree to this thing that they don't want to be anxious, but still they feel that negative feeling. और पूरा फोकस और उसी समय पे अगर तुम अपना फोकस कहीं और लेकर चले जाओ, है ना, तो तुम्हारी एंजाइटी चली जाएगी. एंड देन यू विल बेसिकली आइडेंटिफाई विद दैट अनदर थिंग. तो इट इज सो स्ट्रॉन्ग दिस थिंग. और आई थिंक दे आर सजेस्टिंग कि तुम अपने बॉडी से भी ये चीज कंट्रोल कर सकते हो. एंड दिस इज लाइक आई थिंक इट्स वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टूल, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टूल. कि और मैंने ये भी देखा है कि मुझे रेजिस्टेंस आता है कि मेरे दिमाग में आता है कि यार छोड़ो ना, अभी इतना सब कुछ मैं कर रही हूँ, 1 घंटा है टीवी देख लेते हैं. इट्स फॉर मी, इट्स टू कंफर्ट मी. बट उसमें क्या होता है, उसमें बस ये होता है कि वो 1 घंटा तुम माइंडलेस
Absolutely.
होके उस
Yeah.
चीज में घुस जाते हो.
Yeah.
एंड यूर लाइक बाजू में अगर बॉम्ब भी फटेगा तो भी तुम आराम से टीवी देख सकते हो क्योंकि तुम्हारा पूरा अवेयरनेस उसमें घुस गया है. इट्स जस्ट लाइक अ वे ऑफ
Escaping.
escaping. वो ऑस्ट्रिच पुटिंग इट्स हेड इन द मड. Okay. Impermanence is obvious as we move from one posture to another. This is true not only in the big changes, such as when we go from sitting to standing or from standing to lying down, but also in all the innumerable changes that occur in the process of going from one posture to another. Especially when we slow down, we can feel the micro sensations in every moment. As an experiment, simply slowly move your arm back and forth in front of you. If you do it quite slowly, you will feel so many different sensations of weight, heaviness, pulsing, and of movement. There is so much going on in even a simple movement.
Impermanence is the one of the fundamental truths that Buddhism says, that nothing is permanent. So I think what the author is trying to say, that even like if you're mindful about your postures, you can discover this truth within itself, that you're always, impermanence is there.
So, just to like, there's a short story which I remember from a book that I read. It is about impermanence only, and it's so strong, I'll tell you. तो जब महाभारत खत्म हो गई थी, ठीक है, तो जो कौरवों की माँ थी वो जाती है वहाँ प्लेग्राउंड बैटल ग्राउंड में और देखती है कि मतलब उसके बच्चों की बॉडीज कटी हुई, कहीं बॉडी कहीं हाथ कहीं, और ये सीन देखती है वो. एंड शी इज लाइक, वो कृष्णा को बोलती है कि ऐसे तुमने क्यों किया, तुमने मेरे बच्चों के साथ ऐसा क्यों किया, ठीक है. और वो बोलती है कि मैं खाना नहीं खाऊंगी, मैं अब खाना त्याग दूंगी, ठीक है. और वहां बैठी रहती है बहुत समय तक, 2 दिन तक ऐसे बैठी रहती है. फिर कृष्णा बोलते हैं कि जैसे ही तुम्हें ये फील हो रहा है अभी, यू आर लाइक फीलिंग दैट इमेंस ग्रीफ राइट नाउ, बट as soon as there will be some another stronger sensation, you'll feel this immense, you'll forget this immense grief also. तो 2 दिन बाद फिर उनको भूख लगती है.
हाँ,
बहुत तेज भूख लगती है,
हाँ,
और मतलब लाइट नहीं होती, रात शाम हो चुकी होती है, सन जा चुका होता है, तो तो उनको दिखता है एक पेड़ जहाँ पे एक फल लगा होता है, तो वो थोड़ा हाइट पे होता है, तो इतना भूख लगी होती है उनको कि वो सोचते हैं कि चलो मैं ये फल खा लेती हूँ तोड़ के, और फिर वो उनको ऐसे आजू बाजू पीसेस मिलते हैं, वो उसको स्टैक करके चढ़ के खा लेती है। ठीक है, पीसेस नहीं, सॉरी, मतलब स्टोन मिलते हैं और स्टैक करके रख के खा लेती है। फिर जब अगले दिन सुबह होती है तो वो देखती है कि वो स्टोन नहीं होते हैं, वो उसके खुद के बच्चों के बॉडी पार्ट्स होते हैं, जिसको वो स्टैक करके ऊपर चढ़ के तोड़ती है। सो एंड देन शी इज लाइक,
yeah.
एंड जस्ट शोज दिस इम्परमानेंस थिंग कि तुम्हारा, तुम इस समय, तुम चाहे कितना भी इमेंस ग्रीफ लॉस, जो भी तुम नेगेटिव फील कर रहे हो, द ट्रूथ इज कि वो कुछ समय के लिए है। there will be something that will happen and your mind will get diverted to that. You cannot hold on to anything.
True.
Mindfulness of the four postures illuminates the truth of dukkha or unsatisfactoriness in a very immediate way. This becomes clear when we investigate why it is that we move or change posture. When we pay close attention, we see that almost all movements are an attempt to elevate some kind of pain or discomfort. When we are sitting, we can see this in the slight shifts of position in order to relieve some tension, or in the larger movements of posture when we move if the pain becomes unbearable. When we go to eat, we are relieving the suffering of hunger. When we go to the bathroom, we are elevating a discomfort. We lie down to relieve tiredness. But even then, when we think we might finally enjoy some ease, after some time the body needs to roll over or stretch. And after some number of hours, we need to stand up because the body is getting stiff from just lying down. All of this is summarized in the Dharma statement: movement masks dukkha.
Unsatisfactoriness is another fundamental truth of Buddhism. You'll always be unsatisfied.
कि लाओ थोड़ा ये कर लेते हैं, लाओ थोड़ा गेम खेल लेते हैं, लाओ थोड़ा वीडियो देख लेते हैं। एक वीडियो सेटिस्फाई नहीं करता, एक वीडियो के बाद दूसरा वीडियो देख लेते हैं, और ये सब हम कॉन्शियसली कर भी नहीं रहे होते। It's worth investigating this to see for ourselves what drives the many movements we make during the day. And like, this is very true. But हम कैसे notice नहीं करते हैं।
Yeah, so it's about awareness. Yeah.
Mindfulness of postures also deepens insight into selflessness, the third truth of Buddhism. As we walk, we can hold in our minds the unspoken question: who is walking and who is standing? Through a sustained mindfulness of the body in different postures, we begin to see its impersonal nature. Impersonal nature. It's an important stage of insight called purification of view. It is the first deep realization of the selfless nature of all phenomena. This is the insight into Nama Rupa, often translated as mind and matter, or mentality and materiality. At this stage of meditation, we see that whatever is happening is simply the process of knowing and its object. The sensations of the body standing and the knowing of them, sensations of the body sitting and the knowing of them. We see that there is no one behind this process to whom it is all happening, only the pairwise progression of knowing and the object rolling on. So it's basically saying that the self is not that selfless thing कि मतलब हम जो without personal motive selfless, it's not that selfless. It's saying selfless,
There is no self.
that there's no self. So like if you don't get entangled in those words, basically वो ये क्या बोल रहे हैं कि if you notice, then the action that you're doing, there's this one self, and the person who is watching that you are doing this is another self, and both of them are inside you. Like they are you only. ठीक है, तो वो इनर वॉइस का ही एग्जाम्पल अगर मैं लूँ कि अगर मेरे दिमाग में एक वॉइस है जो मुझे कुछ कुछ बोल रही है, एंड आई एम हियरिंग दैट, This means that I'm not the one who is speaking that. I'm the one hearing that. तो वो voice चल रही है, but I'm the one who is listening to that, and that is why I'm not that voice, and I'm the person who is hearing or who is watching. So हम बोलते हैं कि we are watching the thoughts. तो ये जो distinct वो बोल रहा है कि we are not that lower self. We are not the body who's doing it or who's the mind which is thinking it. We are the person who is watching or noticing all these things.
And how does that matter?
It matters in a way कि वो तुम्हें बताता है कि तुम्हें इन सब चीज़ों में इतना सीरियस होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है क्योंकि वो इतना मैटर करता नहीं कि मैं जो लिपस्टिक लगा के जा रही हूँ, इट्स फॉर अदर्स, सो दैट अदर्स, क्योंकि देखो मैं अपने आप को तो नहीं देख सकती अनलेस मेरे पास मिरर है. मैं अपने आप को नहीं देख सकती, तो कोई दूसरा है जो मुझे देख रहा है, वो मुझे जब देख रहा है तो वो अच्छा फील करे, तो उसके लिए मैं लिपस्टिक लगा के जा रही हूँ. इट डज नॉट मैटर. It actually is not affecting me as a person.
Okay,
so what they are trying to say is that when we identify and we make our life miserable by identifying with these things which you are not, you can let go of these things and then you can be in peace. You don't have to take your body so seriously. You can be at peace कि मैं तो ये हूँ ही नहीं. It's just a tool and you have to keep it healthy. That's it.
Body like a temple and mind like a monk.
So, at this stage of meditation, we see that whatever is happening is simply the process of knowing and its object. The process of knowing and its object happening parallelly. We also deepen our understanding of selflessness by seeing the mutual causal conditioning between the mind and the material elements of the body. We also deepen our understanding of selflessness by seeing the mutual causal conditioning between the mind and the material elements of the body. मतलब basically mind कुछ करता है तो वो body को affect करता है, और body कुछ करता है तो mind को affect करता है.
That's true.
The body moves because of an intention in the mind which initiates the action. This is the mind conditioning materiality. At other times, a bodily experience of a sight or sound or some sensation may condition the mind state of enjoyment or aversion. This is the body conditioning the mind. तो वही मतलब mind body mind दोनों ही एक दूसरे को affect करते हैं, but हम उसमें से कुछ भी नहीं है. That's the thing. In meditation practice, we might experience this insight into the selflessness of the process when we have the feeling of being walked as if the movement is happening by itself. Sometimes it feels as if we are being pushed or propelled forward. This is the experience of no one there doing anything, only the play of mental and physical elements interacting in various cause and effect relationships. तो वो तो होता ही है. मतलब हम हर स्टेप जो लेते हैं वो हम सोच के नहीं ले रहे होता है, वो अपने आप ही हो रहा होता है. तो इट्स वेरी ऑटोमेटिक एंड वो स्टेप भी मैं कंट्रोल नहीं कर रही हूँ. मतलब मैं जल्दी चल रही हूँ, तेज चल रही हूँ, रिलैक्स चल रही हूँ, वो भी मैं कंट्रोल नहीं कर रही होती हूँ यूजुअली. तो वही बोल रहे कि बॉडी का इफेक्ट्स माइंड, माइंड इफेक्ट्स बॉडी, और देन देयर इज द सेल्फ. इफ यू लाइक the third entity which most of the times like in the modern man's life वो कंट्रोल में नहीं होता है. But if you bring your focus or awareness on that thing, then you'll see कि ये सब तो ये अपने में लगे हुए हैं. I'm not bothered about that. And I think that is what the selflessness concept is.
I think you understood more than me.
मैंने पढ़ी थी ना बुक जस्ट अभी पहले. In meditation practice, we might experience this insight into the selflessness of the process. Continuity of mindfulness of changing postures ensures the continuity of our awareness of impermanence.
Awesome.
Continuity of mindfulness of changing postures ensures the continuity of our awareness of impermanence.
Absolutely.
Which in turn helps free us from identifying with the body as being a permanent self.
Yeah. It's a very, very big like myth that is being busted here, that you are not your body.
यस, क्योंकि वो बॉडी चेंज होती रहती है. बचपन में तो हाथ छोटे छोटे थे, हाथ सॉफ्ट सॉफ्ट थे, अभी हाथ सॉफ्ट नहीं है. तो हाउ कैन यू से दैट योर बॉडी?
In today's day and age, it's very important, like, because with social media we've become so visual, and I'm not just saying because of its opinion. The fact of the matter is, the businesses who have like focused on looking more beautiful, like wearing braces, aligning your teeth, these kind of businesses have increased, right? Because everybody wants to look up to like a certain way. So it's very easy to identify yourself like with your body.
क्योंकि वो जो हम बाय डिफॉल्ट हम चाहते हैं कि हम ऐसे सुंदर चीजों के बीच में रहें, और सबकी सुंदरता की डेफिनेशन भी अलग होती है. दैट इटसेल्फ सेज कि ये कितना मतलब फ्रॉड आइडिया है. लेकिन हम अपने घर को भी सुंदर बनाते हैं, हमें सुंदर कपड़े पहनने हैं, हमें सुंदर दिखना है, हमें एक वे ऑफ, ये सब कुछ किसने बोला है?
The funny thing is, see, I've read certain interviews in which people who are actually very beautiful, they themselves are not satisfied.
यस.
They themselves, like, I mean, live in so much dissatisfaction or friction with themselves. So, well, I'm not here to change the worldview of the society or what's happening, because whatever technology is changing the human behavior, it will impact. But on an individual level, you can be more kinder to your body and not be identified with it also. That can.
Yeah. We start living the teaching the Buddha gave to his son, Rahula. You should see all phenomena with proper wisdom. This is not mine, this is not I, this is not myself. Understanding that the body is not mine helps free the mind from desire and grasping. Understanding that the body is not mine helps free the mind from desire and grasping. We no longer claim ownership of either the physical elements of the body or the mind knowing them. And this is also very difficult. It's very difficult to practice. Because, मतलब, like for example, मेरा बच्चा. तो ये जो मेरे बच्चे, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल ये जो एक मेरा आ जाता है कि ये मेरा बच्चा है, तो वहां पे ही बहुत सारी चीज़ें डिफाइन हो जाती हैं कि ये मेरी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, तो मुझे इस पे ये बंदिशें लगानी है कि तुम ये नहीं कर सकते, ये नहीं कर सकते, ये नहीं कर सकते, बिकॉज तुम मेरे बच्चे हो और आई एम द रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन फॉर यू, सो यू हैव टू डू अकॉर्डिंग टू मी. जैसे ही वो मेरा बच्चा का कॉन्सेप्ट चला जाएगा, तो वो वैसा हो जाएगा कि यू बी द पर्सन हु यू आर, लाइक वॉट यू वॉन्ट टू बी. तुरंत वो चीज़ चली जाएगी. जब पेरेंट्स अपनी वर्थ, वो बोलते हैं ना कि अगर बच्चा वेल बिहेव्ड है, मतलब परवरिश पेरेंट्स की है, तो ये जो फुल कॉन्सेप्ट है कि फिर वो एक ऐसे प्रोजेक्ट हो जाता है कि ये अच्छा होना चाहिए बच्चा, वेल बिहेव्ड बच्चा, तो मेरी परवरिश अच्छी है. सो ये सब, ये जैसे आई गिव दिस एग्जाम्पल, ये थोड़ा टेंजिबल है, थोड़ा डिटैच्ड है कि ये मेरा बच्चा है, मेरे बॉडी का पार्ट नहीं है, इसलिए थोड़ा सा वो विजुलाइज करने में आसान होता है. जैसे ही हमारे अंदर ये ओनरशिप आ जाती है कि मेरी बॉडी है, तो मुझे इसको ऐसे 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 करना है, तो वो जैसे ही वो चीज़ चली जाएगी कि ये मेरी बॉडी नहीं है, ये बस एक टूल है जिसको मुझे मतलब जितना हो सके अच्छा रखना है, क्योंकि मुझे इस दुनिया में जीना है. वो मेरी बॉडी इस दुनिया में इंटरेक्ट करने का एक टूल है, एंड दैट इज वाई आई हैव टू कीप माई हैंड, माई बॉडी, माई हार्ट फंक्शनिंग एंड ऑल दैट. बस इसको ये पर्सपेक्टिव लेकर आओ और तुरंत
राहत पाओ.
forever. The purpose of all our practice is to purify the mind of obstructive, unskillful states. In Buddha's words, to abandon ill will and hatred, and to abide with a mind compassionate for the welfare of all beings. तो जैसे ही ये सब से अपना ध्यान हटेगा कि मेरी बॉडी, मेरा घर, मेरा बच्चा, मेरी फैमिली, मेरा पति, तो तुरंत तुम फ्री हो जाओगे और फिर तुम सबके बारे में सेम कंपैशन के थ्रू सोचोगे. Ananda's awakening. There are many stories in the discourses of monks and nuns who attained arahantship through mindfulness of the postures. Ananda was a beloved cousin and attendant of the Buddha. Early on, Ananda attained streamentry, the first stage of enlightenment, but he was unable to realize full awakening. After the Buddha's death, a great council was called to recite all the teachings. There were 499 Arhants and Ananda, who was invited because of his eidetic memory and the fact that he had been present for all of the Buddha's teachings. Ananda felt a bit ashamed that he had not yet fully realized the teachings, and so he spent the night before the council meeting doing walking meditation. Late into the night, he realized that he was making too much effort and he decided to take some rest. Very mindfully, he walked to his bed and, fully aware, he began to lie down. Then, just in the moment of lying down, before his head hit the pillow or his feet the bed, his mind opened to full awakening, attaining all the various psychic powers as well. After lying there for some time, experiencing the bliss of his awakening, he spontaneously appeared at the council meeting, and everyone knew that Ananda had accomplished his goal. Even though we often privilege the sitting posture in our meditation, the path of awakening is clearly not limited to any one posture. This section of Satipatthana Sutta on mindfulness of postures is one of the most effective ways of bringing the insights of intensive retreat practice into the activities of our daily lives. Ajahn Chah said, "Some people think the longer you can sit, the wiser you must be. I have seen chickens sitting on their nests for days on end." Wisdom comes from being mindful at all times. हमसे तो पहला ही नहीं हो पा रहा है. This section of mindfulness of the postures is also followed by the refrain, reminding us again of the important features of the practice. We contemplate the postures internally, externally, and both. We contemplate the arising and passing away, the impermanence of them, and stay mindful of the postures to the extent necessary for bare knowing and continuous mindfulness, abiding, independent, not clinging to anything in the world.
Awesome. That's the end of the chapter. And it is followed, mindfulness of the posture is followed by mindfulness of activities. But it's just an extension. So
बेसिकली
I
कुछ
think-
भी शायद मैं पढ़ा तो नहीं है, लेकिन आई एम गेसिंग कि तुम कुछ भी कर रहे हो तो यू आर माइंडफुल.
So, interesting chapter. I would encourage all the listeners to practice it and let us know how it went.